What's up, everybody? I'm George Mossey. I'm here with my co-host Marshana Dahlia. Last night, 90 Day Fiance, Happily Ever After, episode 15, the finale. It happened. There's no time for any type of chit chat. We got to jump right in. This was the most action-packed episode of the season. Let's jump in. Natalie and Juliana head to Mike's house to break up with Mike, and she is ready to get her stuff, and she starts loving on the rat more than she's ever loved on Mike. Did you catch that?
Oh, I got it. Natalie, like, he's talking to her. Mike is talking to her pretty seriously, asking her things, and she's just like, about the rap. Like, I can't even, like, listen, it's over, it's done. I'm just upset that Natalie is the one who had the opportunity to walk away because Mike should have put her out a long time ago. The
Oh,
friend,
yeah.
I have to believe that the producers put her up to asking to use the bathroom because that was a little bit awkward. And I definitely think that Natalie and Juliana, is that the friend's name, are involved in a romantic relationship. I bet my wig collection on it. There is something more there. And that's that. Like, go be with the one you really love, okay?
I agree. I kind of feel like Mike feels the same way because he said, use my bathroom, take my wife. I feel
Exactly.
like
I want
he
that.
feels the same way. All right, so that's all we're going to talk about because on the tell-all, we're going to get a few more answers. So we're going to jump right on into Kalani and Oswello. So after the Christmas dinner from hell, Oswello tells Kalani he's done with his sister forever, which I don't believe, but he can't be done with his mom. And then Kalani's mom drops this huge bomb that they're selling the house and they can't live there anymore. That
Yeah, I
was
don't
a
know what they
huge bomb.
do. With Oswello driving rideshare, Kalani being a stay-at-home mom, they just don't have the finances to support a household on their own. But Kalani's parents are not indebted to them, right? They do a lot for them with the babies, and they have done a lot in the past. So they're not obligated to go any further. So maybe this is the catalyst that they need to kind of kickstart, financial freedom. We all know TLC is not cutting major checks to these people, so
They're
I don't
not.
know, but I wish them the best.
I don't know. I know for in my mind, I feel like this is gonna be what breaks the camel's back. I think that they've made it this far, not having to have bills and responsibility and not being on their own with their family. I think now that it's gonna hit the fan, their relationship is gonna reveal to be very weak. And I feel like unfortunately, this is gonna be the end of it because Oswello's first thought was, well, I'll never work and support my family here. I'll take them to Samoa and build a hut.
Well, not to be funny, he's looking at the expenses, right? Like, it's very expensive to live here. This is the American dream and the land of opportunity and capitalism and all those really great things that make America wonderful. But the cost of living here is not the cost of living in other countries. So he's just looking at the cost of living. And given his somewhat limited worldview, I can understand why he thought that, but it's not going to work. It's not feasible.
Not well, Kalani shot it down instantly. She's like, there's literally no way I'm living in that country. Like, that's not gonna happen. So we're gonna have to see what happens on a different show or different spinoff, wherever they put them, of where they end up. And my prediction is they're not gonna end up together. I think that this is gonna be a test of their relationship, and I don't feel like their relationship was ever strong to begin with.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so let's talk about Chuck's barbecue. So last night, Chuck had this beautiful, bright idea of having this barbecue with all of his children and his in-laws or his children's wives to arrive at his house to hash out their differences. In my mind, he basically wanted his family to have a brawl because if you know that I don't like someone, don't invite them to my house or I'm not coming to your house without there being a brawl. He sicked Andre on his kids. This is how I attested the situation. He knew Andre is completely out of pocket, off the chain, untamable, and he brought his children into that environment. And he even said, "Don't bring any kids to this," because I feel like he knew that this was going to be an explosive situation.
Well, of course, you know me, having done 3 reality shows on major networks, believe that the producers got Chuck to orchestrate this event at his house, knowing that tensions were high and looking for drama. And it worked. It paid off because I said last night on Twitter, if you don't follow us on Twitter, please do. We'll have our Twitters linked at the bottom. But I said this last night on Twitter. TLC has been promoting this fight between Charlie and Andre all season long. And they finally debuted it in the season finale, and it was worth it. It really did live up to the hype. So what I see here is that Andre has won. Okay. And people disagree with me on this. I don't give a hell. Andre's intent from the beginning was to get involved in the family business, take it over, and make it him and Chuck. He deliberately wanted to push Chuck's children out. I don't know how people cannot see this. Even in his interview on camera last night with Libby, he says, it's my business. I'm not going to give it up. I'm not moving away from this. How can it be your business if you didn't invest any money? You haven't done anything. I just feel like he's such a predator. And beyond that, let's not forget that Chuck offered many, many years ago when they were on the show, he said, you can come work for me. And he said, I don't want to work for you, Chuck. I don't want to work for you. You're going to hold things over my head. But Libby, we're going to move out of his house. We're going to prove to him that we don't need him. That's what he said. So now you need Chuck. And in hindsight, I wish that Chuck had just given him the $100,000. Go be on your own, fail on your own, and not disrupted the business that he has with his family. For Andre to even try to put Chuck in the position where he has to choose, like, can people not see that Andre deliberately created this discord between him and the other children purposefully so that Chuck would have to make a decision and that the decision would land in him and Libby's favor? And Libby's all for it, because Libby wants to be the one who gets everything. I mean, do we see?
I see it. I've seen it from the beginning, but last night I've had some people come for me on Twitter saying they've brought up everything from DUIs to mugshots to
same here.
Andre is just as deserving because Chuck taught his kids this business, and I was like, what you don't understand is Andre is not related to Chuck. Chuck owes nothing to Andre. Chuck's children will always be more deserving than Andre because they're Chuck's children. You will do things for your children that you will never do for anyone else because they're your child, and you will make sure that they are set up to be successful. Andre has come into that family, disrespected Chuck. From the beginning, he disrespected Chuck himself. And then each individual member of the family, he has caused disrespect and discord to each person. Not one person has been left unscathed by this man. So for the people who come for me and tell me that Andre is not the problem, there are mental hospitals. Check in. That man has done this to that family. He dismembered a family from the inside to scam them out of their money. And anyone who doesn't see it is a scammer themselves.
Is a scammer themselves. And I just don't get it. Like, same thing. Like, I had a lot of people come back on Twitter and somebody was like, Chuck was trying to help Andre and Libby the way he helped all of his children. I'm like, exactly. Chuck was trying to help and Andre was trying to take over. There is a difference. There's nothing wrong with Chuck wanting to help, but there's something wrong with Andre deliberately trying to push out, his in-laws out of a family business that he was offered a position in because he doesn't want to work for Chuck. He wants to be the big boss. He doesn't want to get in, get dirt on his hands, scrape his knees on the way up. He wants to go to the top. And furthermore, listen, I've always been Team Charlie. I am a Team Charlie person because I love that he's the person in the family who's honest enough to say and call out. And so are Becky and Jen. They're very apt to use their words directly to call out the situation. However, I realize now something that I hadn't realized before. Charlie has, I think, a problem with alcohol. He showed up last night drunk, and that's how he got bested by Andre. He should have gone into there sober, clear-minded, and clear-headed. I love Chuck's girlfriend or wife, whoever she is, because she was willing to fight for her man. While you messing up Andre, Libby over here talking, look, I'm a snatch. I'm Libby. But then I wondered why the sisters were calling her trailer trash. I'm like, do they not like Charlie's girl? There was so much going on. I literally had to watch that scene back 3 times because there was so many elements at play. I couldn't even understand it. But then even Andre to have to disrespect Chuck in such a way to try to fight Chuck's son in Chuck's house. And I was actually proud of Chuck for 2 seconds, even though I think he's the world's weakest patriarch. I was proud that he said, you fight my son, we're done. But he did fight your son, and you're still in bed with him.
Yeah. He's a weak leader. He's a weak father. And this whole situation was brought on by his weak leadership skills.
Agreed.
This would have never taken place if he was a strong father figure to this family and to the business. He's not a leader in the business, and he's not a leader with his family. And this is what happens when you let your leadership abilities fall short.
I agree.
All right, guys. That's it for part one. We're going to come back and talk about Jovi and the strip club and Angela and her IVF. And obviously, we're going to talk about Tiffany and Ronald. There's so much to talk about. That's it for part one. I'm George Mossey. This is my co-host who's rolling her eyes at me, Marshana Dahlia from Vento. Make sure you live tweet with us every Sunday night. My Twitter is at George Mossey. Her Twitter is at Marshana Dahlia. And I'll put both at the bottom. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you guys real soon.